So our daughter, when she went off to San Diego State University, she was targeted by a transient. And for almost 2 years, she was off on the road. We didn't know where she was. We didn't know if she was dead or alive. It was a really tough time, every night crying for almost 2 years. And at one point I got down on my knees and I said, okay, God, I'm giving her to you. You take her or bring her home to me, anything. And then I had a peace, and I'm not very patient, so it lasted about 2 weeks. And I said, okay, God, I gave her to you, and I trust that you're going to protect her and guide her. And I said, but just show me a sign that she's alive, just anything. So around 6 o'clock in the morning, there was a knock at the door, and we opened it, and it was our daughter.
She'd been sitting in the driveway since 4 o'clock, and she was hesitant to come in because her person who took her pretty much brainwashed her and told her that we didn't want her, we didn't love her, and that's his way of controlling her. So when we opened the door and it was her, we all loved on her. When she told us she didn't know if we loved her, we said that's not true. We all gave her hugs. We all broke down in tears. Her sisters were there. And so she realized then that, that was the beginning point of her coming back to us. But it took a few times more before she actually came back to us. And the total time she was away was 2 years. That was really hard on us. As a parent, as a father, not knowing where your kids are, you always want to be able to take care of them and keep them safe, and not having the control over that was really, really hard.
I remember one time when we actually did get her back, and the people that she was with that helped rescue her, they told both of us, okay, now you got to go in there, because he was still in the picture. You have to go in there and pretend like everything's okay. And his face just kind of dropped, because he's like, I don't know if I can do that. I'm so angry, right? I don't know if I can do that. And he did it, but he didn't say anything, but he did it. He didn't attack. Because of everything our daughter went through, we didn't know anything. We didn't know anything about human trafficking. We didn't know it existed. We knew nothing at all. And so we thought, you know what? We lost everything, and that's okay, because, stuff you get back. But we thought, we had the means in order to help our daughter. What about the parents that don't have those means? And we thought, no, we got to do something. And that's when we thought, well, let's check out human trafficking. And that's how we got involved, because we thought, we're not having any other parents go through what we went through without having any help. And it shouldn't cost an arm and a leg and your everything. So that's why we got involved.
In the beginning, after our first meeting, attending a human trafficking meeting, we went home, and on the way home we said, there's a huge need for aftercare. People are rescuing kids left and right, but nobody has any plans for them after they get rescued. So that was what we wanted to do. God delayed that, and it took 3 years before we actually were able to get involved. And since then, we have helped 11 girls, personally housing them and then finding them long-term care.
It didn't take us 3 years to get involved. It took us 3 years for God to say, you know what? The plan you had in the beginning might have been great for the time, but the timing's not right. So after about 3 years, God showed us the right plan, and then once that happened, everything started happening. We took in our first girl in 2014, because we said, okay, God, we've got a plan. We're going to put everything together, and then in 2015, we're going to be ready to take in our first girl. And God has a habit of laughing at us all the time, because we always make these plans, right?
And then he shakes everything up.
Yeah, and so 2014, November, we got our first girl, and we're like, okay, God.
We were terrified.
We were scared. We didn't know what to do. We were probably more scared than she was, because she didn't know us. And we took her in, and I'm telling you, it was
a blessing.
the biggest blessing you can imagine. I mean, these kids, they're our kids. You know, when God talks about these are our children, they are our children. It's all of our responsibility to take care of them and make sure that they're safe. And she was amazing.
We didn't realize she was an atheist.
Yeah.
But we lived our lives. We prayed. We took her to service. Pastor Rick said, did the sermon then. And we gave her Purpose Driven. And at the end of the service, as we were leaving, Pastor Rick was down giving hugs, and he hugged her. And then after a while, we were walking, and she goes, "Oh, he's the guy in the book." Yeah. So now she's on fire for the Lord. She's doing an internship at another Christian church here in the South. So she's doing real well.
And we keep in touch, and we try and keep in touch with all our girls. And she said recently, she's like, "Ann, you know what? When you guys sat and took me out to dinner that first night, because we went for tacos, and she said, you all started to pray." And she said, and I looked around and looked at you guys and kind of went, what do I do? What do I do? So she said, I just put my head down and, listen to you guys. And now she can, recite scripture back and forth better than I can. The most powerful thing to me, I think, and to us, has been showing God's grace and God's love, because we have seen God work miracles in these girls' lives, because without God, we haven't seen the healing. But when God's in the picture, that's when we see the healing.
There is no restoration without God. They need Him to get whole. And we've seen several cases where God has done miracles when they've accepted Him.
So our daughter is now living in Ireland, and she's married. She's doing fantastic. She's back in school. She's getting her degree over there. She's working.
She's raising
two kids. And I'm telling you, she is the mom that I wish I was. She's really good with them. She does everything you're supposed to do. And she's awesome. I'm very proud of her. And our other two girls are just a blessing, a godsend.